Lord God, thank you so much for giving us another day to study and prepare for a good life in the future. Thank you for giving us the chance to continue learning amidst the pandemic, which caused a lot of changes in our lives. Bless our parents who work hard to support us. Bless our teachers who are doing their best to inspire and guide us, especially in these trying times. Bless our country and the people who continue fighting to stop the pandemic. Lord, fill us with your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Give us good memory so that we might understand and remember what we are going to study now. These we pray in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Good day, students! Welcome back to our virtual discussion in Speech 7. For today's topic, we will talk about the human voice and public speaking. But before that, let's have fun with tongue twisters.
I have here a list of tongue twisters and I will read it one by one and then you will follow me. At first, we're gonna read it slowly and after that, we're gonna make it fast, okay? Let's start. She sees cheese. Seems very easy. Now say it fast. She sees cheese. She sees cheese. She sees cheese. It's difficult, right? Each Esther Edie eats 80 Esther eggs. Each Esther Edie eats 80 Esther eggs. Each Esther Edie eats 80 Esther eggs. Next. The big fat cat sat on the rat. 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 Bubbles double. Double bubble gum 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 bubbles double. Billy blows big blue bubbles. 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 Sun shines on the shop signs. 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 She sells seashells on the seashore. 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 Kitty caught the kitten in the kitchen. 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 A proper copper coffee pot. 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 Oh my god, finally it's done. How did you find the activity? Did you have fun?
Tongue twisters are a big help in improving your pronunciation. So, practice your pronunciation with these challenging tongue twisters.
Okay, let's start our discussion. Our first topic is all about the human voice. From a practical point of view, it is important to know some things about the vocal mechanism and how it functions in the production of voice. What is voice? It is the chief instrument by which a speaker stimulates a response in his listeners. Can we say that voices are defective? Of course not. They are merely flat, dull, thin, weak, and etc. The vocal mechanism is like any other sound-producing instrument. It is a form of wave motion and transmitted through a medium, usually air. The production of air waves requires some motive force to start the vibrator. The vocal passages are the larynx, mouth, and nose. All musical instruments have three elements: the motor, the vibrator, and the resonator. The human musical instrument has still another: the articulator, which are the tongue, teeth, lips, jaw, and palate, by which the voice is shaped into the patterns of articulate speech. These are carried through the air until they strike the ear, where they interpreted as meaningful sound. The production of speech sounds is chiefly the function of the mechanism composed of the larynx, the vocal cords, and resonators. Under resonators, we have the pharynx, the mouth, the palate, and the nose. In a broader sense, voice refers to the sound we produce to communicate meanings, ideas, opinions, and etc. In a narrow sense, voice refers to sounds produced by vocal fold vibration or voiced sounds. Let's have the elements in the sound of the voice. The first element is pitch. It is the relative highness or lowness of the voice. Pitch is an integral part of the human voice. The pitch of the voice is defined as the rate of vibration of the vocal folds. The sound of the voice changes as the rate of vibrations varies. As the number of vibrations per second increases, so does the pitch, meaning the voice would sound higher. Second one is intensity. It is the loudness and softness of sound. Ang kakusgod ug ang kahinayon sa imong tingog. Next is quality. It is the characteristic that distinguishes one voice from another when factors of pitch, modulation, and duration are similar. And the last one is duration or rate. It is the period of time that sound lasts. Also, it refers to the number of words spoken per unit of time. Rate is how fast or slow a person speaks. Rate is part of the paralanguage of speech along with loudness and pitch. It is not language, but it accompanies all of your spoken use of language and can convey attitude and emotion. You can vary the rate depending on the emotions you are feeling or the type of message you are communicating. For example, if you are experiencing joy, you will speak at a fast rate compared to a speaker who is expressing surprise, who will speak at a much faster rate. Normally, you speak about 125 words per minute, but you may speak much slower at about 100 words per minute if you are giving a slide presentation. Pointers to bear in mind regarding good voice. A good voice is loud enough to be easily heard by all listeners. A good voice must be pleasant or agreeable. A good voice must be flexible. That is, it must be capable of variety of changes in pitch, volume, quality, and tempo. Qualities of a good voice. First, it is pure. Second, it has a normal pitch. Third, it is strong. And fourth, it is flexible. Qualities of a flexible voice. First, it produces correctly every consonant sound. Second, it produces correctly every vowel sound. Third, it produces correctly different levels of pitch. And fourth, it creates warmth, color, and meaning in one's speech. Now, let's proceed to the next topic, which is public speaking. What do you mean by public speaking? A public speaking is a presentation that is given live before an audience. Public speeches can cover a wide variety of different topics. The goal of the speech may be to educate, entertain, or influence the listeners. Methods of presenting a speech. The first one is impromptu speech. The impromptu speech requires very little time for preparation. It is when you are asked to speak in front of a crowd without prior notice. Meaning, ditso-ditso ka, walay preparation, walay rehearse. Next is manuscript reading. It is a speech written out in advance and read word for word during the delivery. So kani siya nga speech gisuwat daan in advance ug igod na nimong basahon during the delivery. It is very appropriate for solemn and historic occasions, although it lacks the naturalness and spontaneity of the impromptu or the extemporaneous speech. Next is memorized speech. From the word memorized, so memorizon ang speech. It is good only for elocution pieces. It also lacks spontaneity and naturalness and might expose the speaker to embarrassment in case his memory fails him during his delivery. Last one is the extemporaneous speech. It is recommended for public speaking classes. It is not read nor memorized. So dili siya basahon, dili po siya memorized. It has spontaneity and naturalness. The speaker has time to prepare an outline of his ideas, though the language is formulated during the delivery. Special types of speeches. First one is making announcements. It is a speech done in front of a crowd when you are making an announcement. The second one is speeches of courtesy. These are the introduction speech, the welcome speech, response to a welcome, presenting a gift or award, and accepting a gift or award. Introduction speech. In this speech, the speaker should emphasize the guest speaker by letting the attention of the audience focus onto him. The host is about to introduce the guest speaker by providing factual information about the guest speaker in order to catch the attention of the listener and to make the guest speaker feel that everyone is overwhelmed to have him as a guest. So, I have here a sample introduction speech.
It is my honor to introduce our 2019 guest speaker, a role model for us all, and personally for me, as someone deeply committed to helping Cebucateños. Well, whenever she learned you're from Bohol, she'll give you a huge discount. And most importantly, someone has devoted her 14 years in helping the lives of others as doctor. During her younger years, Dr. Cheche, as fondly called by her friends, classmates, and parents, Dr. Cecilia Tabangcora Vargas, and the late Dr. Rico Vargas, the owner of Our Lady of Salvation Hospital. She is an alumni of Cebucal South Central School and graduated as valedictorian of batch 1990. As a distinguished obstetrician, gynecologist, and sonologist, who has won second place during annual PSU OG Research Paper Contest. Dr. Cheche is a native of Iliga but grown here in Sipocot. She learned to love Sipocot. She spent her high school life at La Consolacion, Iliga City. She earned a degree of BS Biology in UST, University of Santo Tomas, year 1988. And finally, she happily but toughly achieved her goal as Doctor of Medicine year 2002 at UST. She passed the physician licensure examination. Then she accepted her first job as chief resident at Dr. Jesus Delgado Memorial Hospital and worked also at St. Luke's Medical Center as chief fellow. A fellow in Philippine Obstetrical and Gynecological Society, Philippine Society of Ultrasound and Obstetrics and Gynecology, an active member of Philippine Medical Association and Camarines Medical Society, and now she has clinics at NICC Doctors Hospital and Legal Access at Naga City. To our PSDS, Ana Juana Margarita V. Dubron, to our supportive principal, Ma'am Reyes Sagayo, our district representative, Ma'am Moneta A. Ortesa, to my fellow teachers, visitors, and to our dear parents, graduates, please join me in welcoming the lovely, sweet, down-to-earth, and generous Dr. Rochelle Josie Jordi Vargas Castro.
Next is the welcome speech. In this speech, the speaker extends the welcome to his audience. It is important to state the reason of the recipient's visit. Another important thing to be stated is the benefit or the mutual benefits that will possibly acquired by both parties. Here's the sample welcome speech.
Class of 2013. Welcome to your school, your campus, and your home for the next 4 years. I'm very excited you came to share some of your summer with us, to get to know us better, and so that we can get to know you better before you come out here in the fall. Get ready for 2 days of a lot of fun and excitement. You'll get to know a whole bunch of new people, a whole lot better through games and activities and discussions, and hopefully get some good new friends out of it. You'll also get a whole lot of information in a small amount of time. The Vice President of Campus Life, Gail Hansen, once described this as trying to take a drink from a fire hydrant. It's a little overwhelming sometimes, but that's okay. There's some things you'll remember, some things you'll forget, and some things that might just change how you view college and AU altogether. Whatever you get out of it, it'll undoubtedly make your transition to college an easier one. I sat where you are 2 years ago. For me, that great lesson that I took out of NSO was realizing I wasn't the only one like me. I come from a small town in Colorado where I felt I was outgrowing the resources available to me. The size of your incoming class is bigger than my entire school district back home. At AU, I found other people who were interested in the same things I was and passionate about the same things I was. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the only one I knew that followed politics like others follow sports. Not that I don't love sports, especially AU. Go AU. All right. At the same time, my affinity for politics didn't limit me to the Ward building where the School of Public Affairs is housed. My love for politics and music came together over here in Bender Arena when my a cappella group opened for then-candidate Obama at his Kennedy endorsement rally. Nowhere else is that possible. Each of you here today has a different story to tell about why you are here at AU. For some, AU is the biggest school you applied to. For others, it was the smallest. Some of you dreamt of being an Eagle since the beginning of your college search. For others, that might not be the case, but we're glad you're here. And there are other people along the way that I've met, some friends of mine. One of them came to AU because she knew she could land a big-time internship that would launch her career. Another friend of mine knew that he could come to AU and get a world-class education in international studies and perform at the Kennedy Center. No matter who you are or where you want to go, AU truly has a place for you. An education at AU is giving me the opportunity to shape my own future and walk my own path. You'll find a community here and a place to call home. There's a place at AU for everyone to do and learn about the things that you care about, from music to science, from sports to service. I'll see you again later today to talk to you about where you might find your place to be. As you pursue your own path, remember who you are and where you are. Everyone here will now share common AU roots, so as you move on past AU, remember that once an Eagle, always an Eagle. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later today.
Let's have the third one, response to a welcome. In this speech, it should be made by expressing genuine appreciation for being honored. Speaker should thank the person for their kind remarks and let him know how honored you are to be there. Also, give compliments to the host group or family or whoever is putting the event on. Next is presenting a gift or award. In this speech, the host is about to announce the deserving winner of the specific event. It should be done in a way that the satisfaction is felt by the recipient by introducing their pleasant characteristics in reaching those achievements. Let us watch this.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know me, I am Cara Ann McLennan. I want to welcome you all to this year's annual presentation ceremony. It is my honor as a manager here at IGL Limited to be presenting the Employee of the Year Award. Every year, IGL Limited has recognized one of its employees who has gone above and beyond the call of duty. Do everyone at IGL Limited give up 100%? This person make it a habit of giving more than 100%. The recipient of this year's award will be given an engraved plaque accompanied with a check for $100,000 as an extra thank you for your contribution to IGL Limited. And this is coming from the Board of Directors, the CEO, and the management team. The recipient for today's award has contributed to the company greatly in areas such as customer service and sales. The awardee is willing to assist in every area possible, such as assisting the truck drivers and assistants with the loading of cylinders to meet our customer demand on a timely manner. This person have no problem working late evenings, on weekends, during the holidays, no problem. He or she exceeds exceed the yearly objective set by the management team. This person have no problem representing the company in a prestigious manner. We pride here at IGL to acknowledge the countless hours this person contributes to the company, even when this person is not present at work. This person is still at work. This person helped in our customer service building and also in meeting the customer's demand, which has pushed us a cut above the rest. The recipient is a member of the social club, is a member of IGL football team. Bear in mind we have 2 football teams, male and females. This person participates in our annual feeding charity program, the Tivoli, Rivoli, and also Riverton community and its environment. Okay. Clues here. He is a courteous, warm-spirited person. He is very shy. But yet, you can't tell because this person is always outgoing on the job. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my esteemed pleasure in announcing the recipients of this year's Employee of the Year Award winner. To Mr. Mark James. Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. James. Continue to do your best. And thank you again from the board of directors, the CEO, the managers. Remember, Mr. James, only your best is good enough. Continue doing your best. Thank you.
Accepting a gift or award. The recipient of the award delivers this speech when honored. It should be concluded by accepting the gift gracefully to express appreciation to the side of the organization that gave the award. Dedicate also the award to the people who helped make the award possible. Watch this.
恭喜！
恭喜！那我们是不是邀请朴敏英上台好吗？掌声跟尖叫来一点
Please come to the stage. Wow, so pretty. Look at her. Oh, so charming.
Wow.
哦，真的是女神。
Thank you. Thank you very much, Starhawk, for this. I'm truly honored to be here tonight, and I'd also like to thank all of my fans and everyone. And everyone who watched it and supported her private life. And What's Wrong with the Secretary came and busted season 2 in the past year. When I was first offered to play Song Dong-mi in her private life, I wasn't really sure that if I could pull it off, because fangirling is not something that everyone can relate to. But then I thought about my fans who had faith in me and showed me unconditional love and support. So I took a chance, and now I'm so grateful for this. I continue to work hard to become a better actress, and once again, thank you very much, Singapore and Starhawk, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. 谢谢.
谢谢 Thank you.
The third special types of speech is the speech of tribute. In this speech, the speaker delivers eulogy or speech to pay special recognition to a person. A eulogy is a speech given at the memorial or funeral service, meaning it is a speech for the dead person. It can be delivered by a family member, close friend, priest, minister, or celebrant, and it commemorates and celebrates the life of the deceased. This speech also intended to inspire and reflect the emotions felt by the audience. This also includes the commendable achievements of the honoree and his contribution. I have here a sample eulogy given by a sister for his late brother.
I'd like to thank everybody for all of your love and support, and for all of your encouraging comments, because we love everyone who loves Ben. Well, today I'm wearing the earrings that Ben gave me for Christmas, and I pulled the brightest colors I could find out of my closet to match it, because today is a celebration of the joy that Ben brought to our lives. And it's also a chance to find truth in the message that he left for us. So I'd like to share a part of Ben's story that I was the only one who was privileged to hear from him. One night, after Ben had collapsed at Westlake, I came home from college to be with my family, and I was looking for Ben one night, and I couldn't find him, and I was kind of worried. But eventually I found him sitting out on the dock of our house at Lake Austin, and I went out there and I asked him, Ben, are you okay? What are you doing out here? And he told me that the stillness of the water and the quiet in the middle of the night was the closest feeling he could find to that peace that he felt in his vision. And he told me that he would go out there at night to ask God questions. And so I asked him to tell me about his dream in more detail, and he made two things very clear to me. He told me that even though he called it a dream, he was awake, and it was very real. And he told me that when he looked into that mirror, in his words, he said, I knew I was ready for something a lot more important. And after he finished telling me about his dream, I asked him if he was happy that he woke up. And he said, I guess. And then he started crying really hard. And I didn't know what to say to him. So I just said the first things that came to my mind. And I told him, Ben, we're so happy that you're still here with us. You might not want to be here, but you just have to remember that this is not our life. Our life is eternal, and that is God's gift to us. And this life is our gift to God. And he looked up at me and he said, I think you're right. And I also think that God let me feel that peace before I came back so that I would know that heaven is worth it. And the next week, he actually collapsed again Saturday night. And we were able to bring him back. And he was too weak to go to church the next morning, so we had church with our family. And my dad shared Philippians 4:7 with us. And the peace that surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. And my dad looked at Ben and he said, we don't know what that peace feels like, but you do, don't you? And Ben said yes. And my dad asked him if he could explain that peace to us. And Ben said, it's just like the verse says, he can't describe it. You just have to be there. And so we all took turns praying for Ben, and then he prayed for us. And he prayed that we wouldn't be scared, and we wouldn't be sad, and that we would have the same peace that he felt from God. And so I know a lot of you are hurting a lot because you miss Ben. But don't let your happiness go away because Ben is gone. Take that little part of joy that Ben shared with you and share it with someone else who hasn't had the chance to experience it yet. And I want all of you to know that on the car ride on the way to the hospital, I asked Jesus to tell Ben face to face, I love you from everyone who loved him. So we all got to tell him one more time.
The fourth special types of speeches is the special occasion speeches. Valedictory speech. It is a speech expressing farewell at a school graduation, and it is given by the class valedictorian.
I know you are familiar with this. Di ba pag-graduate ninyong elementary?
A class valedictorian is the student who has the highest rank in a graduating class. I know you are familiar with this. Inyo nang naagian pag elementary, wherein ang inyong class valedictorian nihatag og speech. Here is a sample valedictory speech.
Good evening, class of 2010. Before I commence my speech, I would first like to thank my family, especially my aunt and uncle who came down from California, and my grandparents who flew from halfway around the world. I would also like to thank my friends and my academic adjudicators. Without any of you, I would not be where I am today. Thank you, because without your help, I would not have been given this chance to represent the class with a lengthy speech comprised of highly personal anecdotes, a chance I now plan to take full advantage of. Now, I realize that some of you do not care for what I'm about to say, so I invited Nathan Turner up here to enhance this experience with some mood-setting music. Some mood-setting music. This should accommodate your ears so that as you get bored and zone in and out of listening to my speech, all you'll be able to hear is the soothing sound of the guitar. Okay, so to start, I show you the beginning of freshman year. I believe this Rubik's Cube represents our freshman year very well because our freshman year was a puzzle. It wasn't too long ago when the puzzle of entering high school was presented before you. And most of us were nervous, anxious, or scared. And questions like, how am I going to fit in, filled our heads. And we became more concerned with what we wore and who we hung out with, and less concerned about who has more Pokemon cards. I don't know about that one. It was a puzzle because just like the Rubik's Cube, you can turn it around, you just can't turn it around in any unplanned direction. Otherwise, it's just going to get more mixed up. So, you have to start matching colors. You have to know what's going on where, who's dating who. And by the time freshman year is almost over, you've solved part of your Rubik's Cube. But you still have a long way to go. Now, sophomore year was kind of a blur. Hold on one second. Okay, that works. Now, sophomore year was kind of a blur. You now know what's going on in high school, but you're still an underclassman, so there's nothing much going on. Time passed quickly, and everything was drowned out by the freshman's whine and the upperclassman's authority. So, when we piece all the parts of sophomore year together, it creates a rather hazy, fragmented memory that kind of feels like and then he just started crying all over the place, so I did what anyone else would do. Now it's already late and my pants were still not dry, so I decided to get creative. And thus, we coast through sophomore year, leaving ourselves to wonder what really happened. Yet we managed to solve more of the Rubik's Cube. And then junior year. You're finally an upperclassman, and you are now entitled to a lot more power to influence the school. You are becoming more of a leader than a follower, but you soon realize that it just gets much harder from here. More AP classes are available. The IB program begins. Coaches rely on you more. Underclassmen begin to look up to you, and you're finally allowed to go to prom. It's all fun until you begin to realize what the responsibility that's been given to you. And you have to be careful what you do because any wrong move can send you back to square one. Every move you make has to be just right so that the last year in high school will be simple. Now, if you've set it up right, senior year wouldn't be as complicated as your previous three, because most of you don't even have a fourth period. But there is one important thing that you need to get out of the way before you leave, and I think I can best describe this through the words of Lance Jabber. So imagine that you're a single guy, and you decide that it's time to start thinking about getting married. But you're still young, you don't want to rush into anything, so you spend years trying to find the perfect girl. Every chance you get, you travel all over the country just to try and meet new people. Some you like more than others, some are too nerdy, while others party too much. But finally, after all your searching, you think you find the perfect one. Oh, she's incredible. She's fun, smart, sexy, everything you wanted in a woman, and you decide to propose. But you only get one shot, and you can't screw it up, so you spend months agonizing on how you're gonna do it, what you're gonna say to her. You set a deadline for yourself so that you can't put it off forever. And as the deadline approaches, you begin to get nervous. Are you good enough? Oh, it feels as though everything you've been doing in your life has been leading up to this moment. Finally, the deadline is here. Oh, you're so nervous. She's way out of your league. Is the ring big enough? How many mistakes have you made so far? Is it too late to go back? And then it's over. You've submitted your proposal and there's nothing more you can do. She looks at you and she says, let me get back to you in like 4 months. That's pretty much what applying to college is like. And you know what? She'll probably say no. But guess what you didn't tell her? You proposed to a bunch of backup chicks just in case she rejected you. And they're all begging to come marry you instead. Well, now that college is just around the corner, all you have to do is just turn those few sides. 1 second. And you finally solve your Rubik's Cube. So now it's time to say goodbye to high school and say hello to college. So now that we're done with high school, it's time to look ahead into the future. A few years from now, we're going to look back at these high school years and talk about our accomplishments and all the ridiculous things we've had to do. We'll all probably laugh about all the stuff we've done and said while we were still in high school. And then just remember, you gotta just remember.
As we go on, we remember all the times we had together. And as our lives change from whatever, we will still be friends forever, yeah!
The only thing left to say now is congratulations to the West Hall High School class of 2010 and to those who helped us get here.
Next is the salutatory speech. If naay valedictory speech, napoy salutatory speech. This is the speech that the class salutatorian will deliver to the attendees at the graduation ceremony. A class salutatorian is the second highest rank in a graduating class, sunod sa valedictorian. The third one is the contest oration. Muna sila ang mga speech nga pang contest, like extemporaneous speech and many more. Here is the example.
His name is Sahid Sarim. Sahid's future goal is to attend medical school where he'll major in neurology. He also wants to balance that with participating in exotic sports as an hobby. He informed us that he chose this competition because of his interest in the topic and because of the opportunity to enhance his speaking and leadership goal. Please welcome him to the stage.
Honorable judges, respected teachers, and my fellow Americans, with highest respect and great honor to one of the greatest nonviolent leaders in world history, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I am starting my speech today with a little imagination. Let's imagine, just for a second, that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is alive today. By seeing today's society, the racial distrust among ourselves that we are carrying every day, the bigotry, the hatred, the intolerance we are having today, Dr. King would not sit idle. He would say nothing but the same words he spoke 50 years ago. The way he started his movement, he would do it again. He would not allow us to keep our mouths shut. He would encourage us to take a clear side. He would make the same legendary statement that he made on March 8th, 1965. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. These words define the lifespan of our society. With this current distrust, our society is moving towards the dark days of history once again. So let us be loud and make the dreams of those waiting come true. Waiting for a time where the world is better than it is now. Waiting for a time where the world changes from what it was back then. 50 years from Dr. King's passing, and we're still fighting for the Black Lives Matter movement. Times like the Charlottesville events, when a car plowed over protesters, making a split in our nation once again. We hear Dylan Roof's confronting words after shooting 9 people in a church. These are unthinkable events happening today. And according to Dr. King's teachings, these are what matter most in our society. Today, we don't really have the choice whether we be active or silent. If we really want our world to change, then we must come together to make these things happen. As Dr. King once said, we may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. Well, it looks as though that boat is sinking, and only together can we fix it. And if we want to live in modern civil society, then we must learn to coexist with the path shown by Dr. King. Dr. King taught us to stick with love. He said hate is too great a burden to bear. Deep love can replace the deep disappointment. He taught to forgive. He stated forgiveness is not an occasional act. It is a constant attitude. My fellow Americans and friends, like they used to say, Nero fiddled while Rome burned. Our America is burning too. And we cannot just sit around and play the violin like King Nero. We must raise our voice for the equality of race. We must be vocal against all injustices. We must protest discrimination of any kind. We need to follow the path of Dr. King, to keep our country from repeating history again. Dr. King, we promise we will not fail you and your cause. We promise we will stop this racial discrimination. We walk through your path. So we will not be silent. The United States of America will stay united. Thank you.
And that ends our discussion for today. For your activity, answer the following questions and write your answers in your activity notebook. By the way, don't forget to take down notes so that naamoy atun-an during exams. That's all for today, class. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you have learned something. God bless.